Hey everybody, Larry from Just Reddit coming at you with another Ask Reddit video. If COVID-19 wasn't dominating the news right now, what would be some of the biggest stories be right now? Egypt and Ethiopia are close to going to war due to Ethiopia building a dam on the Nile River. Ethiopia is diverting some water and limiting water flow to Egypt. The Ethiopian government is refusing to honor previous agreements made that detail the rate at which they will fill the lake behind their dam, and they refuse to negotiate any further with the Egyptians. The US government wanting to ban end-to-end encryption. The US government trying to pass an anti-child porn law that actually just gives them the ability to search through all of our messages. Edit. If you want to learn more about this act, here's a link to an article with some great information. The nearly 2-year-long Ebola outbreak in the DRC has ended. The last patient to be treated has survived. The 2020 presidential election. Never thought I'd be thankful for a pandemic. The former king of Spain and his Swiss accounts. Wow, that is crazy. Seems like it's the perfect time to get away with whatever you want. I would hope the locusts plaguing East Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian subcontinent. It's describing some swarms as being the size of New York, and they are eating their harvest, threatening widespread famine. I think without coronavirus we would mobilize to try to control this population the way we did for Zika carrying mosquitoes in the Americas. Edit. This NPR article describes how in 2018 an unfortunate series of cyclones from the Indian Ocean hit an extremely remote area of the Arabian Peninsula known as the Empty Quarter. This produced extraordinary rain and gave them what they needed to breed. Because a second cyclone hit occurred during their breeding cycle, instead of drying out and having most of their population die out in the desert, the population exploded. In favorable conditions they can multiply by 400x their population every 6 months. Then they mass migrated. Also for clarity, a swarm was identified as 3 times the size of NYC. Probably the oil price war actually. Saudi Arabia is trying to force the Russians into cutting production since they won't play ball with OPEC+, and US shale might pay the price as we need high cost for this entire industry to function. One of the main routes into downtown Seattle, the West Seattle Bridge, was closed yesterday because cracks in support beams made it structurally unsound. It will take several months to fix and will not reopen until it's done. This would normally destroy the entire Seattle commute, but it happened right now, so it's barely even a blip on the local news. That Putin changed his country's constitution so he can be president until 2036. ISIS bombs Sikh place of worship in Afghanistan. Edit. Thank you for the awards. Smiley face. Oh man, bombing the Sikhs. I know it's ISIS, but come on guys. Nth room case in Korea. Telegram porno sexual slavery ring with 74 victims including underage girls. The Telegram groups has estimated at least 10 to 30,000 subscribers. The Nth room perpetrators are accused of luring victims, including minors, into sending sexually explicit photos and videos. In some cases, this escalated to using blackmail to force victims into increasingly violent acts, including sexual assault. Absolutely disgusting. I'm surprised that this news didn't get bigger internationally. Edit. Reporters at Cookman Ilbo observed about 25,000 users across 30 such chat rooms. Astronomer here. We might have a bright naked eye comet next month in the northern hemisphere, our first since 1997. Comet C/2019 Atlas Y4 is brightening really quickly, and by May might be one of the brightest things in the night sky. I mean, comets are notoriously tricky to predict in brightness, as it might just break apart as it gets closer to the sun. But it's really exciting to think about, albeit no one has heard about it because of the pandemic, though granted, doesn't a pandemic need a bright comet? Edit. You might be able to get it in binoculars right now, or at least have fun trying. Here is a star chart for it. And yes, the last bright northern hemisphere great comet was Hale-Bopp, which was up for about a year to the naked eye. If you were a southern hemisphere resident in 2006, however, you probably remember Comet McNaught. I'd like to say the Earn IT Act, but shit like this doesn't tend to make the news. CRISPR was just successfully injected into a live patient to treat genetically caused blindness. Sauce. That guy that was the second person ever to be cured of HIV. Something to be hopeful about. When storms arrive in darker skies, when rains are rolling in, when cold and bleaker breezes rise, and bitter winds begin, when nothing's just, when nothing's fair, when every right's a wrong, when all your days are hard to bear, and nights are twice as long, remember this in all you do, to hope, my faithful friend, for there remains a hope or two, and storms are made to end. Andrew Gillum, married with kids, almost became governor of Florida, was found naked, high on meth and drunk in a hotel with an overdosing male escort. Brexit, I almost miss it. The ozone layer is getting better. The earthquake in Zagreb. The Lori Vallow / Chad Daybell case is still alive and well.